Thank you, Tamiko. Beginning the Wednesday's edition of the regional news with a story out of Belize. A Salvadoran man has been sentenced to 15 years in prison after pleading guilty to raping a 5-year-old child in 2018. The accused, Byra Gomes, was on Wednesday morning convicted of raping a 5-year-old child and was slapped with the minimum mandatory sentence of 15 years behind bars. Reports stated that the incident occurred on October 15, 2018 on an island, and Gomes was seen as a flight risk, resulting in him being remanded. Gomes pleaded guilty to the offense on June 29, sparing his young victim from having to testify against him and relive the horrific ordeal. On July 12, 2022, Justice Susan Lamb heard mitigation plea on behalf of Gomes from his attorney, as well as a sentencing guideline from the Crown Counsel to help her in determining an appropriate sentence for the crime he committed against such a young child at the tender age of 5. At that time, the man threw himself on the mercy of the court and begged for leniency, apologizing for his action and telling the court how sorry he was for what he had done. High-profile cricket umpire 73-year-old Rudy Kurtzson died on Tuesday following a car crash. The former South African umpire was killed in a car accident in the Western Cape on Tuesday morning on the N2 Stilbaai off-ramp that claimed the lives of Kurtzson and 2 other men. A 4th person was injured in the smash in which a Nissan MP200 Bakkie, driven by 53-year-old Jacobus Trelantal, collided head-on with a white Ford EcoSport in which Kurtzson and his friends were traveling in. A police spokesperson, Captain Malcolm Pojai, says a 4th person, believed to be the driver of the Ford EcoSport, was airlifted to George Hospital in a critical condition. Kurtzson and his friends were heading home from a golf trip to the Western Cape while Tarantal was en route to Rivelsdale. The spokesperson said a case of culpable homicide was being investigated. Kurtzson stood in 108 tests, a record 209 one-day internationals and 14 T20 internationals during his 18-year career. His test debut was in South Africa's first home series back in international cricket in 1992, prior to his retirement in 2010. And finally, on tonight's regional news. The FBI executed a search warrant on former President Trump's home in Florida on Monday, the ex-president said, lashing out at law enforcement for what he called political persecution. Trump said in a statement that his home located in Mar-a-Lago in Palm Beach, Florida, was under siege, raided and occupied by a large group of FBI agents, while he also deemed the search as unnecessary and inappropriate. The search warrant at the former president's home comes as the Justice Department has accelerated its investigation into the January 6, 2021 attack on the Capitol and the actions Trump took to overturn the 2020 election results to remain in power. It was not immediately clear what was examined during the search, nor what the search warrant specified, but Trump said the law enforcement officials even broke into his safe. Last year, the National Archives reportedly asked the Justice Department to investigate after authorities recovered 15 boxes of materials from Trump's Florida home that should have been left with government records keepers. Among the retrieved materials were some that were classified. The search would appear to be the first of its kind against a former president, but it remains unclear whether it's a prelude to criminal charges, another scenario without precedent in U.S. history. And that has brought us to the end of tonight's regional news. I'm Joel Vogt, back to you, Tamiko.